Hi, it's Ann from Labella Vintage Creations, and I thought this morning I would take some pretty pictures and some pretty background paper, make some tags, some things that you can kind of put in your journal, just some pretty things. So I haven't got a real clear plan of how I'm going to do it, but I thought we'll just begin and see where it takes us. So I had this. At Goodwill, I was able to find these panels of curtains, and they were so cheap. It was like $1.99 for 4 huge long panels. And I sat yesterday and kind of cut out sections of it, and I thought they were so pretty, and that netting is so nice. And I thought this would be so pretty on some of these papers. So what I'm going to do is just begin here, and like I said, we'll see where it takes us. I put one thing kind of together yesterday when I was sitting down here, because I had it sitting on my desk for quite a long time, and I thought, let me just do that. So I think I'm going to start with that one, and I'm going to put these guys away to the side for just a few minutes. Okay. Again, it's a nice time in the morning to do this. I just thought it would be nice to come down here and work on things. And with spring, it's so nice to have the spring flowers and the spring look out. So that's what I'm doing right now. I love lilac. I love the light greens. I love the pinks. All of that is just my favorites to work with. So that's what I'm going to be working with today. So we'll see where it goes. So what I did, I have this piece of paper. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know. It was sitting here on my desk with a lot of other things, and I thought the colors were so sweet, and I thought this is what I'm going to use this morning. And I'm going to take some trim here. I think this is the right side here. And it was a lot of these trims and laces I get from Crafty Me or my stash. So what I'm going to do is begin with this. I thought it was so pretty. I did distress this a little bit. I distressed it with Vintage Photo. That's my go-to, even though I have other colors. I think I just like that the best. So I'm going to start with that, and I'm just going to glue this down a little bit here. Just give it a start so I know where I'm placing everything. And I just go onto the very thick pieces of this trim. This is very heavy, this trim here. It's let me get it so it doesn't stick here. Okay, it's a very heavy trim. I'm going to trim a little bit of this here off. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. And then, let's see, over here, I've got a little bit of this green gauze, and I thought that would be awfully pretty to put there. I'm just still thinking about it. This is going to be a fast one because, like I said, I already had looked at things on here and decided a little bit about what I was going to do. And I think I would like to just put this vintage piece of paper I just stamped on some tea dye or coffee dye paper. I just do that when I have a little extra time. I did that the other day actually too. And this way I have some on hand. And I'm just going to set that right there and maybe put a bow, and it's done. So that is the easy one today. So because that was already kind of thought out a little bit. The rest is not thought out. So we're going to just do that as we go here. And I do have a little bow. Let me just fix this a little bit, tighten it up a little bit, just using some satins and stuff that I have. When I have it, I always like to tear. If it's like the under, the skirting from a dress or something, I do like to use that. And this way I have it ripped, and the only thing is, of course, you've got a lot of these ends sticking out, but that's okay. It's kind of like a sari silk, but it's you know, from fabric that I've thrifted. And I think right here, maybe there is where I'd like to put that. Yep, I do. And we're just going to set that right in there. About there. Okay. And I'm going to trim these down, of course. They're just a little, way, way, way too long. There. Okay, very simple, not much to it. Now I could use this on another one to give it a little background, because at this point I don't have it backed. But what we could do is you could use that on a page. You can glue it down. It could be a pocket, could be, you know, on the side. You could do that and have a little tuck spot. So these are the things that we could do with this. Now in the back, I think I'm going to take that vintage photo and just kind of rough it up a little bit in the back to stress it somewhat, so that this way it's just a little bit less white. There, that's all I'm going to do there. And then I'm going to set this aside, because maybe we could use it for something else down the road. So that's the one for we've got started here for today. Now I have this, I think it's almost looks like a homemade paper type of thing, handmade paper. And I had it and I thought it was really pretty. I thought I would take it out and use it. This particular paper that I found thrifted somewhere, I thought I would use it. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tear it, because I think it's just way too big for this. I just do this like so. And again, I'll probably use the vintage photo because it's right here and it's handy. How is everybody doing today? I hope you're having a good day. I hope it's nice weather by you. We've had some crazy weather. We had it very, very warm yesterday. It was in the 70s and had everything open in the house and loved that beautiful fresh air. And then before I knew it, there was really very cold air coming in. And so that it cooled down this morning. It was like in the upper 30s in the area here. So from the 70s to the 30s, just that crazy weather. You know. So, but it's okay. That's what it is. Now today it's kind of dreary. Sun isn't out, but I'm using this day to do my laundry. And so I'm doing that while I'm downstairs here in the lower level. And that's all I'm doing. And then a little bit later, I have my granddaughters will be coming over, so they'll come over after their dinner and spend the night with me, because they're on spring break this week. So that's what's going to happen this week. So what I'm going to do here is just I'm going to cut this down a little bit. It's kind of there. Maybe that size, I think. And we'll put this to the side here. I do like that there. And then that'll give me some places really to put some laces and some pretty things behind it and give it a little bit more structure. It won't be so thin. Now, I think I will, I do like to round my corners. And although I have to look at this, it's not even is what I'm trying to say. So let me see if I could make this a little more even here before I do that. Okay, let's do that way. Yep. And now we'll just round them out a little bit. You don't have to, but you know what? I kind of like to do that. I like the look of that. You know, it just to me looks a little bit more finished. And if you don't have a corner punch like this, you could just do it with your scissors. It's not a big deal. So let's see. I like that. I also have this. Is from a gown, a wedding gown, and I took it apart, and I think you can still see there's some netting on it, and I dyed it with juice. It was, I think it was like um, dark cherry plum juice or something. And it really came out this soft lavender color that I think is really so pretty. So I think I might use some of that, but I'm not sure how yet. So I'm just gonna, let me get it away from that netting for a minute so I can see it a little bit better. Okay, that's one idea. Let's see the right and wrong. Oh, this is the right way. Like we put, let's see if we want to, yeah, I don't think so. Let's see. I also have this, and I'm wondering, I also could take a little piece of that on the side. I kind of like that in a way. Just that side area, like that. So I think I'm going to just cut that away, and we'll see what that does. Okay. Okay, just ideas, figuring out what we want to do here. Okay. So we can, I like it going down better, actually. I do. I like that a lot. And then there was that pretty netting. So let me take some of that out of there. Oops, sorry. Okay. See if we can do some of that, because I love to have that, those layers. I just do. I really do. I have this also. Whoopsies. Come back. Okay. I did print up some of these too over the weekend. I just stamped them is what I did. And that's kind of nice to put, but I don't know if I like that there right now. Oh, I like maybe this one that says adore. Oh, I like it. So maybe we'll, cut this down. We'll think about that too. We got to do a little bit of work on that before we use it. I like to distress it and all. So I think what we're going to start with, and I could always trim things, I think we're going to start with this. Go this way. Bring this up just a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue there. Oops. That's better. Okay. And a little bit on that branch. A little bit more on the leaves here. Okay. Oh my goodness, today I've got the clumsies. There we go. And a little bit more of this. Okay. So I think I like that is like that. Whoops. Let's do a little bit more up here. Okay. And it looks like I'm going to need another glue stick for my hot glue gun. Okay. Okay, get rid of some of that. Okay, there. Now let me get that glue stick. So I will be needing it soon. Okay, there you go, and off with you. Now let's see here. I'm going to be trimming this too, but I'll wait until I get everything the way I want it. Now I think over here, I'm going to just gather it a little bit. I like to do that, like so, before I decide on putting her there. I think so, there. Now let me check out this, if I want to put this under her a little bit. I don't think so. Let me see here if I could use a little bit more of this. Maybe. So let's try it. I don't know that I'm going to do it, but let's see. Okay. There. Okay. Now let's see what she looks like there. No. Nope, nope, nope. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave her like this. I like it just the way it is. I have some real pretty ribbon. I could always put something there. Right now I think I'm just going to leave her. She's very pretty the way she is. So let me do that. Okay. Okay. There. And now I'm just going to trim around a little bit. This is just kind of give it a little bit of a light so it doesn't look perfect. There, like that. I like it that way. Maybe. Let's go down a little bit there. Good. Get rid of this. Okay, so far, okay, I think. Now, let me see what else have I got to work with here. I have this, I don't like to do that. I have this, that little bit left over from that bow that I made in that first tag that I made. And maybe it would be nice to, maybe here or maybe up here. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to kind of scrunch it along this edge here. Let's try that, see what it does. Okay, let's go there. Kind of scrunch some more. Okay. Cut some of this off. This particular, as I told you before, it's from skirting, I think, and it's very stringy. Okay. See if I can open that. This one is a little thinner. Okay. There. That's good. And let me just put this on the top here so we can scrunch a little bit up there. I think so. Trim a little. Okay, and I don't know, maybe I'll go around it. Why not? Let's just use the rest of it up here. Okay. I mean, since we have it, right? Let me just put it there so we can see that better. Here. Okay. I got out to do, I went to a couple of estate sales this weekend, which was a lot of fun. The people in these estate sales are so nice. I really like going to them. It gives me a little bit of time out and time to have a little fun, you know, just on my own and relax a little bit and walk through and see what they have to show, you know. And I was able to get some nice fabrics, and I was able to get some nice doilies, some papers, some, you know, so I was having a good time. So I enjoyed that. So let me see if I can use one of these somewhere. Nah, I don't like it. Now let me see about this, if I would want to put that somewhere. And I don't think there's really much room for it, actually. So that probably isn't a good idea. Let's see what else I have here. Just for the heck of it. I could probably, I mean, a go-to is vintage, you know, but let's just see what I can do. I'm going to trim it down and put some distress ink on it and see what, if it fits in there. If it doesn't, then we're done with this one. Okay, so let me get my distress ink here. Okay, and let's see if I want it there or down here, maybe down here. And I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of something to back it. Let's see if I could find something to, let's see. I don't like to just put it down. I like to have a little bit of backing on it. I have yeah, I think so. I just always keep scraps of netting, so we can do that. I'm going to just do that a little bit. I'm going to scrunch together that, and then on top of that, I'm going to put this vintage tag here. Okay, and this is that. There. So, and this could be put in a tuck spot or whatever. It gives you some place in the back that you can do a little bit, even it's purple, but it's still, you could write on that and it'll be pretty. I think that is nice. Now, I think also maybe, if I should, if I could do that. I don't know if I have it handy. I was going to look for my punch, and I would put a little ribbon on top, but I have no clue even where to look for it right now. So I think we're just going to leave it as it is right now and go from there. So that one's done. We'll put that on the side. Now let's see what else we have. I've got, let's see. I have some, I had these 6x6 pieces of scrapbook paper, and I thought, you know what, let me cut them down to tag sizes. And I thought I would do that yesterday. And so I did, so I have some on hand. And I've got some, oh, I've got some of this. This is pretty. Oh my gosh, look at those. So let's see what we got to work with here. And again, we've got these mild colors, which I might use that too. Let's see. And oh my gosh, that's so pretty on that. I love that. I love that. Let's see what else we have here. We can use a little bit of that soft. That would be pretty too. In the meantime, let me first round my corners here. Oops. You know what I'm going to do here? This is very lightweight. Let me see. I think what I'm going to do is put it on here first. Let me do that first. Let's do this. Just going to trim around this for a second here. There we go. So much for that. Okay, and now I think I'm going to go on here. That's pretty. Okay, let me just cut that down a bit. Maybe about there. 3 inches, maybe. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. I can use this somewhere else. Okay, and this will give it a little bit more strength because this was a really thin piece here. So let's do this. Boy, this is not straight. Let me get this back again, and we'll redo that a little bit because once it's up on that that darker piece of paper, it's going to really look strange. And I'm really unable to draw a straight line or cut a straight line, so that's just okay. And these it's still not doing it. These punches here, unless it's cut straight, it really doesn't do a really pretty job. So then I know I'm always, not doing so well. Now what I'm going to use here, let's do this again. Sorry. While I'm doing it, I'm gonna do. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna round it by hand because I guess it's not straight enough to round it. Okay. Today it's one of those silly days, but that's okay, right? We all have them. Where things just don't go as planned. Well, so much for that. You know what I mean. So we're going to do this, and what I'm going to go up this way, maybe. I'm going to use a glue stick, I think, to do that with, because I thought I might try something a little different today, and we'll see how that goes. And looks like we're using a lot of purple today. Okay, even on the glue stick. So that should, I'm guessing that's going to dry clear, I would think. Okay, there, and then we get a wet wipe here to clean up. Here we go. There, clean that up a little bit there. Okay, very good. All right, so now we've got a little bit more texture on here. So that's what we're gonna, okay, so we're gonna use that. And now I wanna use this really pretty, oh gosh, that's so pretty. I like that a lot. Kind of bring it to the side maybe, like so. And then I had this pretty piece of pink, and I have to decide on whether or not I'd like to use some of that. I don't know, because it's just so gorgeous in just the lilacs and the purple. Almost think that's what I would like to do, because I have a real pretty lavender for a tie. I don't even know if I want to use that, because these are just things I want to just tuck. They're not necessarily anything I want. So we're going to see on that. Let's try this. Okay. This is so pretty. It's very soft. I like that soft look. Okay. There. Now we'll do this part here. Okay. And this. Pretty. Very pretty. Wondering, I would even like to just wrap around. Oh, that is real pretty to do that. I'm going to do that. Just wrap it around instead of cutting it off. I like that. Just pull that nice. That's pretty. There we go. Okay. Okay. Look at that. Now the bottom, I think I'm going to trim that. I'm going to do that here. Okay. There. And maybe trim a little bit up here. Like this. There we go. Okay. Make sure I have this glued down a little bit. I like it. Look at there. I think that's pretty. Yeah. Okay. Now, do I want to do anything else with it? Let's see. I want to put a picture on there. Maybe her in this one. I think I might like that because she's small. I'm going to just take this out like so. See if she would fit. I think so. I think so. Let me just do a little bit more here. Okay. Move this over a little bit. And again, just a little more distress. Now I think I want to put something up under her, and let me just see what would work. Would that work? Maybe. I don't know, maybe that would be cute if I had some of it coming off. Let me cut that in half and see where that takes us. Let's see. Maybe I'll get to use my pink after all. Okay. Like that. And like that. See, and I had one that said beautiful. Here it is. Let's see if we couldn't use that. I think so. Right down below it. I think so. I think that's what we're gonna do. So let's get this down. There. I didn't want to use that whole doily because it's little and I wanted to use it on something else too, maybe. There. Good. There. Get all this stuff out of the way. And her there, but I'm thinking she needs to have something up underneath her too. So let me look again for something like that's this. That gives a little bit of dimension. Okay. And we'll do that. Right there. Love it. And then she'll go right on top. I like that. All right, let's do that. She'll go right there. And she's got that soft, that soft look too, with a little bit of lilac and, that pinks and stuff like that. Just very subdued. Now, this one, I want to tear. And then I will again use some distress ink, like so. Okay. Oopsie. I think I'm liking it with that pink in there too. It just gives it a little bit different look too, not just the lavender. Okay, boy, did I just gave it a little bit too much ink, didn't I? Yay. Okay, and let's see if we have something else here. I almost don't like that now because I just darkened it way too much. Let's see. Oh boy. Let's see. And just put, we'll do that. Let's just put vintage there. I'm going to do that. As you notice, I just always fall back on Paris or vintage and stuff like that because they're not all used in the same journal and they're not all used in the same way. So, you know, you could do that. At least I do that. And I won't go so crazy on that distress ink. Okay, there we go. And down we go with that. I think so. I think I like that now. Maybe. And maybe a little bit of this netting to go under it. Okay. Like so. And then our little vintage sign. All right. Yes. Okay. Another one done. All righty. Now, see if we can make one more. And let me see what I want to work on. I got a choice here. I've got this. Got a little bit of this color. Got some of this. They're all so pretty. This is kind of pretty. Let's see what this would look like. Let's see what I want to work with. I don't want to do that. Here's some of that handmade paper. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Let's see. I have got still some of these pictures here. Let's see. They would look pretty actually on this. Or, you know, let's go fancy. Let's put it on the one with the gold. I really like that. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is just tear this down a little bit, make it look a little bit more rustic. You know, this was again from those 6x6. I got them at Michael's, I believe it was, or it could have been Hobby Lobby, I'm not sure. And they're just so pretty. Not all of them have the metallic in there, but the ones that do are just, they're just so pretty. I'm just loving it. So again, let me round the corners. Oopsie. There. Okay. And then we can put them in there. Let me just give them a little bit of a distress here. Okay. There. That kind of pops them out a little bit. I like to do that. Alrighty. Now, I cover my glue here before that dries up. I'm wondering if I want to use some of this color. Nope, I don't think so. Let me see if I want to use this color. And we probably could because, again, we're going with that muted shades, and I really like that. That's very pretty. Okay. How do I want this? It's kind of a... This way. Don't want to use that much. Let me cut this down just a little bit. I think we only need that edging here. I'll cut that down. I'll go from there. Okay. There. That's really a good length. And then we can have them there. Or do I want to scrunch it a little bit? Let's think. We're going to think on this. So I have some more of that bridal gown here. Let me just see if I can find a piece that's a little bit more, that would work a little bit better on that side. I think I did find something here. I did. Let me use that. This gown was really pretty. I kept some ivory. I did some with this juice. And you know what? It's so nice to have it on hand. It's very soft. I love it. And I love that color because I love that muted tone. All right, let's just take some of this out here. Because I have a big piece in my bin over here. And of course, while we're doing that, I might as well take some netting out because we need the netting too. Take some of that out there. There we go. Now we've got something to work with. Okay, because this, I didn't like the way that was. I'll use that on something else. But this has a more softer tone to it, I think. Yeah. Okay. So, let's see what we have here. We have this part, which is lovely. I think that's the right side. Yes, it is. And we can put them in here. Okay. Or maybe the bottom would be very pretty, hanging off. Let's see if we can just take this. Okay. Oh, I like it. Take this off because that's just too much there. Okay. We can hang that there. And then we could put some of this netting up behind it. I don't want to completely cover that pretty paper because I love it. But let's just see here. We're going to bring them down. Oh, I think I could. That is really pretty. I'm going to bring it maybe, oh, I don't know. Let's look maybe this way. Oh, I like that. The way that comes down. Nice. Nice. Okay. I like that. I'll trim that all up so it looks pretty. And then I think back behind it, we could probably use a little bit of this. Not so much though, I think. Get rid of some of this. There. I'll just kind of put this up in here to give some texture. Okay. Like So, okay, and let's get this one down. There. I like to do it little by little because otherwise I put it in all the wrong places. Little by little. And this one. Oh, this is a clumsy day. My. Oh, yay. So, we're doing okay, though. I mean, we're getting some pretty stuff made, and that's what it's all about, even if your hot glue gun doesn't want to stand up where it's supposed to, right? You know, this, because you don't have cooperation from some things that you're working with, doesn't mean that they didn't come out, what you're working on didn't come out really pretty. So I do like that. Let me see here. I'm still doing a little searching. Do I want to put this there maybe? I could. Why not? Hey, we've come this far. Okay, let's put that there. Okay, and now for them. Let's see. I think so. And then we'll do our trimming of those laces so that it looks a little bit nicer. Right now it just kind of looks all over the place. But, you know, it's unfortunately sometimes how I work. You know, just a little bit all over the place. Okay, I'm going to bring this in a little bit more. There. Okay, and now we're going to just give it a little bit of a rough clipping. Just kind of make it look a little bit less perfect. And over here, I'm going to take some of this netting off because it's a lot. Okay. There. And now some of this. We'll see how that looks then. And whoopsies. Go around this side. I'm dragging everything with. And we're going to clear some of this up because that was just dangling. And the same thing with this. Let's see what that looks like. I think we're just going to take this off like so. And I think I'm going to bring it down here. I don't know. Thinking about it, maybe right there. I don't know. I find it really, the edges, I really always feel like I need to put something there to, and I'm going to just change this around now that I'm looking at it. And change this around. So we're trimming this a little bit, giving it a little bit more of an angle there. There, and then I'm going to put this up here. Bring it up just a little bit. Okay. Trim. Now, let's see what else we can do. Oh, let me get this down a little bit more here. There. Okay, well, she's looking pretty, I have to say. You know, I kind of like that. I think it's really pretty. It's very simple. Something to just kind of put in there. And I'm thinking that I just love it the way it is. We've got this beautiful sign that I made. I don't know if I want to use that or not. I don't think so. I don't think it needs anything. I think it's really sweet the way it is. Let's see what we've made already today. Okay, let's bring them out. All right, this one was the easy one that I made from the beginning. And then we just kind of stuck with the lavenders. And I just love the way that looks. I think that really came out very nice. You know, we did this one, kind of gives it that pretty look, you know. I love that. I love this. It's so pretty. Oh, before we close, oh my goodness, I will be looking at that, and once we're off the video and realizing that I didn't do that. So want to just give it a little bit of a distressing in the back here. This way it's not quite so stark white back here. Since we used all these muted colors, I think it's much prettier like that. And let me see if we're okay with the rest. Yes, we are. So that is that. And put this to the side. And again, let's look at them. So here we have some pretty things to be able to put into our journal. I love this. I love these colors. Very pretty. And of course, then we have this one. Now this one I'm going to be using on something else, because the next thing that I'm going to be working on is I'm going to be working in the greens. So that's going to be my next video, is kind of going into the greens and working with those, having greens and having some, you know, some ivories with that and so on. But today was Lilac Day and Pink Day. So I hope you were a little inspired. I hope that that you stayed around for the end of this. If you did, I hope you'll like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel. I know it is a slow road because I'm so new at this. It takes a while, but thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next video. We're going to do green and ivory. Thank you. Bye-bye.